Welcome to this week's episode. I think this week we are going to be going from Carlingford Lough down to Dublin, Howth again, and then to Arklow, and then from Arklow straight round to Newlyn, and then eventually ending up in Falmouth.
Yeah, so that all sounds fairly straightforward, but it was a bit of a trek. This marks the culmination of 500 miles over 2 weeks that we did. The last two episodes you'll have seen us go from Tarbert to Campbelltown, over to Troon, down to Bangor, then on to Ardglass, then to Carlingford Lough, and now on to blah 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 that Judith's just said. We've had various setbacks on the way. The weather was terrible. Bear in mind this was October that we were doing this in the Irish Sea, which is open to the Atlantic and to all of the storms.
I was ill.
Jude was ill. Anyway, it was hard, we were tired, and then we have engine troubles this week, and anyway, as you can probably see, everything turns out fine in the end, so don't panic. We're currently sitting in Honfleur in France, which we will start our French adventures probably next video. We might do a wrap-up of the previous season video. Let us know in the comments if you want to see a wrap-up, hear about what we did over the winter, the maintenance and stuff. But we're thinking just move on to when we cross from Brighton to Dieppe. So let us know what you think, and hope you enjoy.
So we are off on the move again. We spent the night in Carlingford Lough, I think Dave said. Pretty good night's sleep last night, so I am feeling a bit better today. And so far we've woken up completely different day to when we were last in Carlingford Lough, and we woke up and it was blowing quite strongly through the lough and waves. Sorry, the camera just fell down. But today it's been quite flat. There was a bit of gusting as we were trying to get off the dock, but it was all right, all smoothly done, quite well. So we're out of the marina now and going along the lough. It takes about an hour to get down, and then hopefully it'll be about a 6-hour passage, and we're hoping to aim for Howth. We've got a berth booked as of now, so hopefully we can just go in straight into that. And then I think this is the last day before it gets really quite bad tomorrow, or there's some bad weather coming through tomorrow. We'll show you a bit of that, and then in the next few days, the weekend coming, so I think we're now on Wednesday, there's a big storm coming through once again with like 60 knot winds, so we'll be glad to get in a marina. So we're probably going to be there about 5 days before we can move again, but that's good. It'll give us time to rest because it's felt like a lot. It's looking all right. It's starting to build up a bit of swell, but well, we won't know what it's going to look like. There is a chance it will look like what it did yesterday, and it wasn't bad, but it was just uncomfy, and you didn't need 12 hours of it, hence why we stopped halfway, but we knew that we had that option anyway, so that was good, and we took it. So yeah, we will keep you updated on the day and see how we progress, and cross our fingers we make it to Howth. Touch wood. So we are about 2 hours from our destination now. We are heading to Howth, and we should succeed in that, luckily. We've had very mixed conditions today. Well, I guess it's not been mixed conditions, it's just been depending which way we've been pointing, really.
Yeah, and it's come and gone with the tide. The waves built up first thing, and then they died down, and then they built up, and then they died down. It's just what happens when you're out for a while and you're near land.
Yeah, it's been longer than we expected. So we are really glad that yesterday we stopped and went into Carlingford instead, because today's probably, we left around 8 in the end. We got chatting to a boat next door that came in late last night, left about 8, had a bit of tide with us then, got further down, and it's now about 3. So we'll probably get in about 5, I guess, 5, 6-ish.
Yeah.
By the
To
time-
give you an idea of how tired we've been, when Jude says the boat next door came in late, they came in at 6 o'clock.
Yeah, it's like 7, wasn't it? Oh, no.
No, 6 o'clock.
Well, yeah, it felt late, and we were absolutely shattered yesterday.
Yeah, we were in our PJs.
Yeah. Dave had to change and go and take a line because the wind was howling. It howls through Carlingford Lough. Like, it's not pleasant.
No.
But yeah, we are now on watch for some pot markers buoys, because this is where we went through past before, and there were quite a lot of buoys. So we are going back to the same marina. We did consider Dunleary, but it's just that extra hour on, and you have to go across Dublin, whatever it's called. Oh, splash. Sorry. Yeah, you have to go across the Dublin bit, and there's a lot of container traffic, and we didn't really want to do that at the end of the day. So we've just going into here, and hopefully we know there's some nice bars and restaurants if we need feeding, and we'll just have to sit out the bad weather. Storm Amy. Amy has come in for vengeance. So yeah, anything to say?
No, I don't know if you said we have been going for 4 days.
Oh yeah.
We started off at, oh no, longer than that. So we did Campbelltown to Troon, and then Troon to Bangor, then Bangor to Ardglass to Carlingford, and then Carlingford to, with any luck, Howth in about 2 hours.
Oh, you forgot Tarbert. We did Tarbert to Campbelltown, and the next day we left.
Oh yeah, we did Tarbert to Campbelltown on that same run, and we've, I think we did 2 nights at Troon, but other than that, it's been every single day that we've sailed. Or motored, so Troon to Bangor was just motoring, there was no wind at all. Well, you'll probably see that on this video.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're struggling to get south at the moment, and it's hard going.
Yeah, and we have had the motor on today, but we have also been sailing properly. It's just been powering us through the waves and getting us slightly tighter, because otherwise we'd probably have been in Wales if we would have had to have done the tack that we'd have had to have done based on the wind direction. But
yeah, the waves are really steep, so
yeah.
we've had a boat speed sometimes of 7 knots through the water, and then the waves just stop you and put you back at 4 knots over the ground. So we've been struggling to make much progress forwards, and that's 4 knots, not even pointed at the destination. So a bit frustrating, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
But we were just eager to get it done in a certain time today before it gets dark, so we put the motor on. It's winter sailing in the UK. It just, you can choose either to put up with a very long day arriving at night in the cold and the rain, or you can try and get there by a certain time and within the conditions. And yeah, we're choosing to get there within the conditions. We've only got very short weather windows. As Jude said, there's a storm coming. Well,
and daytime.
Yeah.
So like doing it's pitch black at 8 o'clock in the evening. Well, probably 7 now.
Well, 7
and
yeah.
The sun's not rising until 7 in the morning. So you can't get up early and go as much. And when we did, that just destroyed us both yesterday morning.
Yeah, and also it's impossible to see pot markers in the dark. And every single one of the harbours around here has pot markers outside of it. So leaving and arriving in the dark is actually quite risky, because you could end up getting a pot line wrapped around the prop, and then you have to deal with that while you're out, which is never fun, as we've shown before. And so yeah, and everywhere around here is a long sail. We're talking kind of 60+ mile days just to get to the next harbour, so it's not like we can choose to go somewhere closer. There just isn't anywhere along this coast closer. But anyway, I mean, we shouldn't moan about it. We're very much enjoying living on the boat. So
oh yeah, when we checked into Carlingford yesterday, the guy was like, "Oh, you're late, aren't you?" Meaning that because it's late September, and it was like, "Yep, that is us. Everyone, no one else is on the water." And you look at all the boat tracking apps and stuff like that, and we're probably one of a handful of boats currently out and about and moving around. and the rest of them are all now home berthed, and it's like, oh, what are we doing, Dave? What are we doing?
Yeah, we've only seen 2 other yachts today. One of them only on AIS, and that was the one that was next to us last night. And the other one came out of a harbour here and went to the next harbour.
Yeah.
Well, they came out of a mooring next to some islands, which would not be tenable tomorrow night. It's going to be 80-mile-an-hour winds, and they've gone into a marina basically next to where we're going. So we didn't even see their boat because they left. They were probably 4 hours ahead of us.
But yes, anyway, it's probably our update for now, and
yeah,
well,
at least the sun's out.
Show you a bit of hope, I guess. Maybe not, we're not really sure. Might be the end of the video. Obviously probably show you getting that we're on a berth.
Yeah, I mean this
storm.
whole video is probably going to end up the struggles of getting south. It's been a real journey. And it's not over yet.
Yeah. We are just getting ready for part 2 of moving south. As you can see, Dave's on the deck of the boat behind me, and well, that's obviously our boat, that's Cara, and he's getting the electricity in. So we will shortly be untying our lines and heading further south.
Well, we're finally making some way south. Been at Howth for 6 days. It doesn't feel that long. We were so tired when we got there, full of flu. So we sort of slept the first day, and then there was a storm blew through, and just feel like we could have done with another week to relax, really. So now we're on the next leg south. We're hoping to get to Arklow today. All of the elements feel like they're against us right now, and even worse, we've got spring tides. So there's 2.5 knots of tide going north and south today, which makes it even more challenging, and then the sea conditions follow, that they end up a bit bigger just because of that. So right now it's frustrating sailing conditions. You'll hear we've got the engine on, we are directly into it again. We're going past Dublin Bay at the moment, at the mouth of the Liffey. We are hoping that once we get past this, the waves will calm down, but sailing right now is extremely slow and uncomfortable, with too much current against us. We had to come out due to the tides. The tide will turn in probably about an hour to be with us. We're hoping that that's not then going to lead to big seas, because it will be against the wind at that point. But fingers crossed. But yeah, once we get past Dublin Bay, we're hoping to just be able to sail. But right now there's tide washing up the Liffey into Dublin. There's tide going into Howth Bay. I don't think that's the name of the bay, but the bay outside of Howth harbour where we've been. And yeah, it just feels a bit challenging at the minute. But we finally got some weather windows to move further south. We were apparently the only visitor at Home Marina Yacht Club, so thus reinforcing the fact that we're probably out a bit late in the season compared to everybody else. But yeah, we'll see. The next leg, we are not sure of our plans from Arklow. We're either going to go over to Milford Haven in Wales, which is southeast from Arklow. That'll be about a 20-hour passage. We can head directly south to Land's End in one go and get around and up to Falmouth. That would be about 48 hours in one journey. We can also head south and around the corner to Kilmore Quay, where we went 5 months ago, which was a nice place, but it's not, we don't want to visit there right now. We're just trying to head south. But equally, I don't think we want to do a 48-hour passage in these sorts of conditions. It's now cold. The wind feels stronger for a given wind speed. The waves are certainly building more than they did a couple of months ago. maybe it's just perception, but it's certainly feeling like it's a change of season right now. Although ironically yesterday we had a really nice sunny day, so we were out in shorts and t-shirt at the pub. But yeah, we are gradually working our way south. We're far enough south now that visiting friends and family wouldn't be a problem from this sort of far up. Where we were in Scotland, I think we said in a previous video, it was 10-hour journey away from the south of England, which is where all our friends and family are. Whereas here it would be a few hours, and from the Dublin side there's a ferry, and then a train journey south. If we get across to Milford Haven, that's really quite an easy journey to get south, and probably then you're only looking at 3-4 hours to visit people. If we get stuck for the winter, what we're actually hoping is to get to Falmouth, and then we can work our way up the English coast over the winter months in places that we're familiar with. Then we'll cross over to somewhere along the northern French coast and work our way back down. And we're also hoping to get French visas so that we can spend the whole of next year just cruising slowly down the French coast and really enjoying ourselves. But all of that's up in the air at the moment, and yeah, we're not really sure, but that's part of the joy of not having any commitments. We can stop anywhere we want to or we need to, and get going when we need to or when we can. But we don't want to get trapped somewhere that doesn't have any amenities or travel options, because then we really are trapped for the winter.
Sorry, I'm just hiding under the spray hood. We are currently now sailing, so the engine is off and we've got our sails out. We are reefed, one reef in both the mainsail and the head sail, and we're going along quite well. I think we've got past Dublin now, and hopefully out of all of the drama of the shipping channels, shipping lanes.
Well, we're currently in Arklow, and today we're planning to go to Rosslare. I'm going to sound a bit spaced out in this because we're quite tired from a few weeks of beating south directly into winds and waves and everything. Jude is over here currently making tea and breakfast and coffee for the journey and lunch. Yeah, so we finally got some weather where we can move again. Last week was storms in Arklow, as I probably mentioned. And this is, some of the reality of cruising, that you don't get to go where you want when you want. And when you do get to go, you have to go. And then if you're tired, tough, you've just got to go. We've both got coughs, which you've had for a week or so. So that adds to the tiredness. But yeah, we've stopped in Arklow. We really like Arklow. And Niall, the harbour master here, don't know if he's harbour master or if he's just marina manager. Really nice guy though. We arrived at 5:30 yesterday. He told us he wouldn't be here. He told us where to berth. But then at about 8 o'clock he came and knocked on the boat just to make sure that we had everything we needed. Which you don't get very often. Mostly marinas ignore you until the morning, even if you've not been able to leave or get a gate code or whatever. But here he gives you his mobile number. Nothing's too much trouble. So yeah, really like it. And the river at Arklow is absolutely gorgeous. So if you're ever passing through, make sure you stop at Arklow. I've lost my thread of what I was saying. Oh yeah, tonight we're going to Rosslare, probably anchoring. Is the plan. We've planned to go to Rosslare in the past, as you know, and failed a couple of times. But today the conditions look good. The wind is dying off, which unfortunately means we're probably motoring back over to England. But once this light weather patch goes through, we're back to heavy weather again, because it's October. It's got much colder this morning. The windows have got condensation on them, so we're really glad that we are heading south. And yeah, and then we'll do a night at Rosslare, and then probably leaving at about 10-11 in the morning. We'll start heading south from there towards Land's End, toward Longships, I think is the mark that we'll be aiming at. It'll be about 26 hours to get to Longships. That should put us in the daytime rounding Land's End, at which point I think the prediction is 1 knot of wind, so we will be motoring for sure. And then going around to either Newlyn or Falmouth, depending on how tired we are and how much diesel we've got left. We're hoping we're not motoring the whole way. We think we should be able to get a good 10 to 12 hours of sailing from the Irish coast before the wind really dies off. But Land's End is pretty notorious for being rough, so I'm not going to say that I'm sad that we'll be motoring around there in complete benign conditions. It's actually kind of nice that it's going to be an easy one because we're knackered. So yeah, but journey yesterday went pretty well. It's spring tides at the moment, so the sea kicked up a lot more than it should have in the conditions, which made it pretty slow going at times against the waves, and we had overfalls in several places. But there was another boat in front of us that we saw on AIS, which weirdly we were catching up with most of the day. They're 45 foot. We thought they were coming into Arklow as well, and then at the last minute they tacked away, and they are now down in the Irish Sea somewhere, crossing to Land's End or to Spain. We think they're off to do the Ark. Osprey of Clyde, if you're out there, that was you. And well done for sailing the whole day, because we started motoring an hour or so out because we were tired and just couldn't be dealing with it. I had almost no sleep the night before, so okay, let's get ready and go.
So we are now making our way, I think, to Falmouth. So we've just left Arklow. Our initial plan was to go to Rosslare and anchor for the night. We've got out here and it's a pretty good day to carry on, and we're thinking now we will just do that. Dave's just gone down for a couple of hours. We've sort of started a proper watch pattern, and we'll see what happens. We can make a decision when Dave gets off if we're actually going to go back into Rosslare. We were taking the inside passage down Ireland, which we might overlay a map here, and going inside the sandbanks and then we would just pop out the other end and be on the corner and be able to cross past the TSS and then just straight across to Falmouth. We were approaching, and it was approaching low water, and we suddenly saw there were quite a lot of white tips on all the waves, so we decided to scrap that plan and last minute changed our mind. We did end up losing about 20 minutes of ground, but it will hopefully probably make it up at some point anyway, and it's a long passage, anywhere between now 30 hours and 48, depending on our speed and our tide. We are currently going about 7.1 because the tide has just turned, so we've got 6 hours of good tide, and it's quite fast moving and down. You normally get about 2 to 3 knots at the high speed. I don't know what the words are, but anyway, we're making way, and we did a bit of sailing at one point, which you'll probably have seen. We've now put our head sail back in because it's just died. I think it was a bit of a land effect, and actually went a bit crazy and was very unpredictable, and wouldn't have been good going through the inside passage with that wind anyway offshore. But so we've chosen to come out. There's another boat out here. They're not on AAS, so we don't know where they're going or heading or anything like that, and they got away from us a little bit while we were messing around, but we'll see. We don't know where they're going, so it's irrelevant. It's nice to sometimes have some company because there's nothing else out here. and at some point we'll obviously lose sight of land in the daytime tomorrow. It'd be nice to get to Falmouth and hopefully anchor and just recover for a bit before we find a marina that hopefully will be able to have us and hold us in for a few days. Anyway, we'll keep you updated and show you a bit of our day.
Well, we're I don't know, 5 hours into the journey today. We left Arklow at about 9 o'clock. It was pretty cold at the time, but it was very calm. We went through almost hit there's a bank just at the southeast corner of Ireland, and it's much shallower than it's supposed to be on the chart. The chart was saying 17 meters and we ended up in 7, I think. And as we were approaching it, we could see massive breaking waves over the top of it, despite the completely calm conditions. It wasn't much worse then than it is now, and you can see how calm it is now. So we turned out and we've come outside of that. That's given us a bunch of tide anyway. At the time we were going inside of that, because we did that last time, and it is the recommended route to take, but at the time we were unsure whether we were going to Rosslare or if we were going directly to Land's End. We have decided now we are going directly to Land's End. Our diesel supply looks like it's probably okay. I was a bit worried because we've not filled up since Howth. We did 3 hours probably motoring yesterday, and we've done 4 hours today. Other than that, we've got essentially a full tank plus the 70 litres that we carry normally. That should be enough for 3 or 4 days of motoring, but it's better safe than sorry. And if you push the engine hard, like if you end up motoring into waves, then you use a lot more diesel, as we've been doing the last few days, or over the last week. And I was a bit nervous because there's not really any good place to get diesel on this corner. Arklow, you can get it from the fishing dock, but we weren't there at a time that would have been open. Rosslare, you can get it in the village, not at the port. It's a ferry port rather than a yacht harbour. So we'd have had to take the dinghy in from an anchorage, get into the village and fill up cans and then carry them back, which is a lot of work for what at this point would have only been an extra 20 litres of diesel, probably, if we could even get that into the tank. And our alternative is to go around the corner to Kilmore Quay. We liked Kilmore Quay, but it is an hour and a half down the coast. We would then have to make the hour and a half back up the coast, up on the crossing, and I just don't think we need it, but reassuring to see that the tank is still showing as full. We've not used that much. We're currently going almost 9 knots most of the time because there's 3 knots of current. That will turn against us eventually, but I'm hoping that we can ride this wave. As you go down the English Channel, the tide turns at different points and it's later and later as we go down, so if we can keep on that wave, then we'll have a very fast crossing because we'll have 1 to 3 knots of tide with us the whole time. If you fall off the back of that wave, you slow down initially and then you get 2 knots against you or 3 knots against you, and that then obviously slows you down. Currently we're showing about 24 hours for the whole passage. I'm pretty confident it's going to end up being about 30. These things always do. It's quite optimistic on the plotter when it gets a good tide behind it. So you've always got to keep reminding yourself that's just currently what's happening with our speed, and when our speed drops, that's going to reverse. Just realised I forgot to put a wind muff on this microphone, so apologies if there's wind noise. Anyway, I'll wrap up there because there probably is wind noise, and update later, probably sometime during the night, maybe.
We are currently motor sailing. We've got mains dividing a little bit of power out. We've just passed the south of Ireland, made really good timing, so we weren't really expecting to get into Rosslare
until probably like 4 or 5 o'clock, but we'd already got round the bottom of Ireland at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon just because of the speed we were going. We hit up to like 9.4 knots, I think, on part of the journey, and while I was on helm for my couple of hours, we were doing about 8. We're doing about 6.7, so we have cut our time down somewhat, but I'm expecting it to slow down at some point. And we will, once the tide's against us, and it will probably eke back up. But we were initially started the journey with a 48-hour time on the clock, and then through the day it's got down to 24, and we've not been going 24 hours. So I'm crossing my fingers that lasts, but I am understanding that it probably will not. Hopefully you can hear me properly. I'm not sure if I've zipped up my mic too much. I should know if these work properly. But yes, I'm feeling a bit apprehensive, I guess, on doing another night sail. We haven't done one since we crossed to Ireland in the first place. Sorry, we're a bit rolly and I'm scared about the camera. But I'm sure it'll be fine. It's just, and we've got it was a harvest moon yesterday, so hopefully it'll be quite full, and we've got blue skies at the moment, so hopefully no more clouds come across. It's not forecast to be heavily cloudy, so hoping it'll be a much brighter time than last time we did it, where it was pitch black with I don't think there was any moon at all, which I guess, though, we now have all the tide. And the long journey, but I'm going to leave it there because I'm getting too panicked over the camera sliding across the hatchway.
So it's gone 7 in the morning now. And we are still motoring. We're probably about 7 hours away from Land's End, I think, something like that. And the Dolphins are still here. They've been with us since about 7 or 8 o'clock last night. We think it's the same group of them that have just been swimming with us the whole night.
Hope they're not lost.
Yeah, we hope they're not lost. They're either Irish or Welsh dolphins coming on holiday to Cornwall. But it's absolutely incredible, the endurance of these creatures, that they've spent the whole night swimming. Jude and I have been napping on and off, taking 3-hour watches, and we're still tired, and we've done no exercise, so yeah, I don't know how they do it, but they look like they're having fun. They've been jumping out of the water the whole night and swimming along in that bow wave and all kinds of things, which happens a lot in the Bristol Channel. It's happened to me every time I've crossed here. I went from Milford Haven to Padstow once, and they did exactly the same thing. So yeah, it's been an easy enough passage. Still a bit worried about diesel. We're going to have to fill from our diesel cans later. But I'm pretty sure we've got enough to get around to Newlyn and Penzance, where we will probably anchor tonight and or go into one of the harbours, and then move up to Falmouth tomorrow, just because it's been an incredibly long passage, so I think we can both use a rest. But we'll see how we feel when we get around there. We might get a sudden burst of energy, but if we carry on, it's probably midnight before we actually get to Falmouth, and there's a lot of lobster pots and markers and stuff outside of there and around the Lizard. So the Lizard is a peninsula just in front of Falmouth, for those that don't know. And we don't want to be near that kind of stuff in the dark, especially when we're tired, just in case one gets wrapped around the prop. So yeah, gonna have my morning cup of tea, and then I might go for another nap and leave Jude on watch one more time before we hit Land's End. So yesterday, while we were going along, I put the engine into reverse, as we always do, to fold the prop, and sorry if this light is in the camera, the engine stalled, and then the engine wouldn't restart. We think it's a fuel issue. The various sources of fuel in the UK are fairly dirty. And so I changed the primary filter, the one just after the tank. That was absolutely filthy. Then I couldn't restart the engine, so I changed the secondary fuel filter. But by that point we then had asked for a tow to get into the harbour here, because the harbour entrance is really difficult. So we got towed in. It was the end of a 30-hour journey, 36-hour journey, really long anyway. We came from Arklow to Newlyn in Cornwall, and so we were exceptionally tired. It was getting late and dark. So anyway, we tied alongside, and now the last part of the thing is bleeding the fuel system, because this fuel filter does not have any fuel in it. A lot of people will tell you to fill this filter with diesel before you fit it. Don't do that, because the whole point of the filtering system is that it removes all of the bits. So if you fill it with fuel, you're bypassing that filter and the other filter, and so you might do damage to your engine. So always bleed it properly, but there are varying levels of properly. So the properly that I'm currently doing now is not in any manual. I've removed this bleed bolt, and so what I'm now doing, is I've got this pump, which is used for, it's like an oil change pump, I think is officially the title of it, but it's a very good pump. So when I change the primary filter, I take the bleed screw off the top and I just suck the diesel up into it, and I've done the same here with this secondary one. And you'll hear people use primary and secondary in opposing ways. So some people call the primary one the one next to the engine. I think of it as the primary is the first filter. But anyway, remove the bleed screw, suck diesel up into it. That will then fill it in the correct way from the fuel tank, and then proceed to use the stupid little pump on the engine as the manufacturer recommends, which is a tiny little thing with a lever that's very frustrating to use, and you have to pump it 1,000,000 times to do anything useful. So I'm now going to pump this 1,000,000 times. Hopefully we'll see some diesel come out of the top, and then eventually we will bleed the remainder of the fuel system.
Looks a bit dirty what you're doing, Dave.
Yes.
From my angle.
The engine is now a bit dirty. Normally I keep it quite clean and wipe things off. But once you have an engine emergency, you just sort of have to get going with it and accept that there's going to be some dirt. So that's what we're doing now. Just slowly pumping diesel up. Probably 1 centilitre at a time.
So we are now back underway on our way to Falmouth. We left Newlyn probably about an hour ago, I want to say.
About that.
And we've got a 6-hour passage.
About that.
So we're a bit late leaving because obviously we had to fix the engine and whatnot, and we'll probably talk about that in a few minutes, but just to explain our plan, we are rounding Lizard Point and Lizard Head. Not prepared for this, as you can tell, and think we'll get around for slack water. We'll then probably end up fighting a bit of tide up to Falmouth. Probably could have done with probably leaving about an hour earlier, but we needed to sort ourselves out. Dave expertly fixed the engine.
Not expertly.
Well, you fixed the engine, and that's more expertly than me. Who was...
Yeah, it just needed 2 fuel filters. So I think I might have mentioned it while I was fixing it. We took some footage. But while we were going along, I don't know if we've even explained the full story. While we were going along, we had been motoring overnight from Arklow over in Ireland. We got some wind on the south coast of the UK and had the sails up, so we thought let's try sailing. When we sail, because we've got a max prop, the blades of the propeller spin. So when you're in forwards, they go one way, and when you go in reverse, they go the other way. But when you sail, they feather and they go straight so that there's no drag. But to get them to feather, you have to put the engine into neutral, then give it a blast of a stern, then back into neutral. And it's the fact that they're in the reverse formation that then allows them to feather. If you don't do that, the prop spins just like a traditional 3-blade prop would, and you lose some performance. So, and also it's noisy is the main issue for us, to be honest. The performance isn't that big of a deal. It's probably quarter of a knot, half a knot, something like that. Anyway, I digress. When I did that, the engine stalled. After many hours of motoring, the motor had been running fine. But once it stalled, I tried to restart it. It wouldn't start. Then I noticed that it was stuck in gear, having stalled in gear. So I messed about for a while, managed to get it out of gear, and we noticed that because there was wash coming from the propeller as I was trying to start the engine, and the starter motor doesn't like that extra effort when starting, but it wasn't that, still wouldn't start, so I thought probably the fuel filter, went down below and changed the primary fuel filter, bled that, or just sucked the, I think we got footage of me using the pump. I sucked the diesel up into it. That was all done. Lots and lots of black crud in the old filter, so I thought that might have been the problem. Changed that one over, still wouldn't start. Eventually I remembered that there is a second fuel filter on the engine, bearing in mind we'd been going for 30 hours at that point, so I was not in the best state to be thinking things through.
And we'd probably only had 2-3 hours sleep because we'd had the engine on all night, and we'd only thought it was going to be one day. Well, actually we thought it was 2 days originally, so
yeah, it's really hard to sleep when you're next to an engine that's going, especially, if you're 2 or 3 days into a trip, you get used to it. If you're 12 hours into a trip, you're not used to it, and so your body just refuses to sleep. So yeah, anyway, couldn't sleep very well, got about 2 hours sleep. So yeah, I then eventually changed the secondary fuel filter, the one nearer the engine. That was also full of black crud. Reattached that, tried to start the engine and it still wouldn't start. And essentially the system needed bleeding. There was air in the system, which was preventing it from priming, which was preventing it from starting. So we got a tow in, and then we had a good night's sleep, and we had some food because we hadn't eaten since breakfast time, and woke up this morning, bled the system, working fine. So all good there. Mm-hmm. I've forgotten why I was explaining that.
Just to explain what had happened and where we were up to.
Right.
That's fine.
Yeah. And we were talking earlier, these things do go wrong, of course they go wrong, and you'll always have problems, but if you know how enough to fix the engine and to actually change the filters yourself, then you're verifying that was the problem, which gives you confidence to go out again. If I hadn't changed those filters myself, this morning we'd have been nervous about going out to sea, because you're not confident the problem is fixed then, because you have no knowledge of what the problem was in the first place. So very pleased that I changed the filters myself. Disappointed I hadn't previously changed them. We've done a lot of hours on that engine this year, and I probably should have changed them sooner. I also took the opportunity this morning to change the alternator belt that hadn't been changed this year. as in this season. I changed it at the end of last year. Luckily, have loads of spares on board as well. So, yeah, it just gives you more confidence being at sea, which was a good choice. And then we went and had tapas.
Oh yeah,
we didn't want to carry on and deal with it last night. We were just so tired.
And
so
the
we
boat
had
was
food.
a mess.
We were asleep by 8:30.
And then woken up to a phone call at 9:30. But yeah, it was a really nice restaurant actually in Newlyn. Although we were completely out of it. We had that hazy, no sleep, no food for too long. We didn't, because it was
too long at sea, so we were both
and too
wobbly.
long at sea, yeah.
When we were in the harbour office, I thought it was on a pontoon because things were wobbling. And we went outside and it was just a concrete floor on
I mean,
the
it was
land.
above the water. It had water underneath it, but it was not moving, it turns out. But yeah, we probably, we ate our food, had a quick drink, and then left that restaurant immediately. But it would have been nice to enjoy it a bit longer than normal situation. And we had tried a few other places, but they were just completely full, and this was the only one we could really get into. And I think it must have, did we not? We were eating at 8:30 last night. Oh no, 7:30 probably, back at 8:30 and then straight into bed. Yeah, to try and catch up. Should feel a bit more alive this morning, but probably still will need another day of
for sure. I need another good night's sleep before I'm back to full strength.
Hopefully tomorrow, and then we'll...
But that was always in the plan. Tonight we're probably going into Falmouth, going to the Chain Locker pub and have a pint of nice Cornish ale.
Oh yeah, Dave's missed his ales.
I have. Scotland aren't very good at ale. To be fair, Fine Ales Brewery are nice. They're lovely, but they're few and far between. So if you're in that area, you get those to choose from. So Oban was good for those. Tarbert.
Well, you liked one, but it wasn't the most popular. Jarl is available everywhere, and you liked the Highlander, didn't you, as well? That was half the issue.
But before that, Ireland don't understand ale at all. They're all Guinness, which is fine. Different places have different preferences. So it long time between good pints of real ale. Now we're back in Falmouth. I need a pasty and a pint of ale, and I'll be back to full strength.
But yeah, we'll get on that. Now you'll see us.
Shall we stop there?
Yep.
Thanks for watching, and please join us next time when we'll be starting our 2026 adventure to France. If you haven't done so already, please like and subscribe so you don't miss an episode.